I am a Whiskin second generation. So my family, hold on, let me try to work the slides. I actually immigrated to Canada when I was 8 years old. And that's where my mom met Whiskin and started her business in Vancouver, Canada. And so you can see some photos of her in the early days, and with our founder, Blake Roney as well. So I grew up with the products. My very first products that I used was enhancer and also like Gentamals. So I grew up with the products. I used almost all of the products growing up, and also saw my mom in this business. I saw her slowly build her business. I saw her succeed in this business and how hard she worked really to be able to earn leveraged income, residual income in this business. So after many years, my mom was actually awarded the Circle of Excellence degree back in 2016. How I began this business, so I saw my mom in this business growing up, but I always thought that this was her business. It really didn't have much to do with me. I felt like even though it's great, everything's great, I didn't know how it would connect with my life, right? So I guess everyone's story has a timing, has a turning point, and my turning point came when I was in my first year of university. So after my first year, I guess everyone in university will be looking for like part-time or internships, right? All right. And also I was studying food and nutritional sciences at the University of British Columbia. So I was looking for a part-time or internship in that area of study. Now while I was looking, that was the year, in 2009, that age lock was announced. I'm sure everyone now knows what age lock is, about the gene expression science. But like when it was first announced, it was a bit of a mystery, right? And my mom was really smart, so she said, oh, there's this new technology being announced. Why don't you come with me to this seminar and listen to the scientists, and with your limited first-year science background, explain to me what gene technology and gene expression is. I was like, okay. So that's when I went to my very, very first opportunity meeting. And it was really at this opportunity meeting that opened my eyes, because at this meeting I met Amy, and Amy was another role model in my life. So at that sharing that day, she was talking about her story, her 5-minute Whiskin story about how she began, and it really, really opened my eyes because of the similarities. So being Whiskin second generation, she was also a Whiskin second generation, and she was really opened my eyes to say, oh, I could actually do this business. It was almost like this opportunity was placed in front of me the whole time, but I never really clicked in my mind. It was just at that meeting, it suddenly clicked. And I realized that I had 2 great mentors in this business, which is really hard to find anywhere else, in my mom and Amy. And obviously they wanted the best for me, and they were willing and there to help me. So I thought, you know what? Since I'm studying nutrition and Whiskin is all about wellness and beauty, right? So why not start there and start this part-time? So and this was better than any other part-time I could find because it's flexible, right? I could work around my school schedule. Obviously, I was a full-time student. That was my first priority. But other than that, how can I use the other times I have to build myself? And Whiskin was right there, and I thought, if I do this part-time, and if I set a goal for myself, by the time that I graduated, if I was able to, build a small team and hit a certain pen title, I could do this. I could have something that's actually waiting for me when I graduated, so I don't have to start from zero. Yes. And so, yes, this is a picture of Amy. And also at that meeting, I think Amy said something that really I'll always remember to this day. So what she said was that we are our parents' biggest assets in their life, right? They spend so much, just not just money, it's like emotional, physical support, like everything. To teach us to become good human beings. But and how can we repay them once we grow up? How can I make them proud? And I looked at all the opportunities, the options I had, and I thought, you know what? B-Skin was the best for me at that time. So starting the business, obviously, at 19 was slow, because I had so much to learn. This was my very first job, you know, like being 19, you really didn't know much, right? Even though I thought I did, but I didn't really know much. So I had many challenges to overcome. First of all, I was very, very shy. Like, I'm still very shy. So I think for many people, as it is for me, speaking in front of so many people is a challenge. So obviously, speaking in front of thank you for the support. Also, I didn't know how to invite people. I didn't know how to talk to people about the products or about the business. Second, because my mom has been in this business for almost like 20 years now, a lot of everyone I knew around me was already signed up under her. Do you guys ever have trouble finding clients? Yeah. So that was a challenge. And then third, almost everyone I saw in the business, I saw my mom build the business. So it was her team members obviously were her age. So they were like aunties and uncles for me, right? And back then in Vancouver, I think a lot of immigrants were they had really high educational backgrounds. So they had like masters and PhDs. So, you know, in my mind growing up, I thought, oh, so to do B-Skin, I have to have all of these degrees. I have to have this education. I had to be outgoing. I have to be able to talk to people. You have to have certain life experiences in order to succeed. But you know what? It was at that meeting with Amy, I finally realized, you know, you can actually start any time. All you have to do is start, and there are mentors who are willing to teach you, and you can learn as you go. So for me to start, HVOG obviously was very interesting, and the science really interested me, but it wasn't like that for most people. Because at 19, do you guys think about anti-aging? Right? It's a good concept, but you're not really worried about that yet. So what I had to start with was actually glacial marine mud and hydrated masks. I was very lucky that I had one friend who was able to start at the same time as me, and so Amy gathered two of us, and then we started inviting people over to have first potlucks, and then second spa parties. So the first year in USD was actually just me mostly going to weekly lectures and trying to learn as much as I could. I didn't give myself too much pressure. I just wanted myself to be able to learn everything and then step forward. So first year was very slow, but eventually, as you can see from the pictures of our spa parties, they slowly build. What's great about starting with glacial marine mud is because when you're in high school or university years, everyone's dealing with skin acne problems, right? Occasional pimples as well. So glacial marine was good. We had people in these masks, and they couldn't speak for 20 minutes. Which is good for us, because now we can start presenting to them and talk about the business or the products for them, and then they had to listen, basically. So it was good practice, because we had these weekly spa parties, and we slowly built from there. My second turning point was actually, because the first few years was actually quite slow, was actually when I began my last year of university. And that was kind of in my mind. I felt like if I had to have a team by the time I graduated to be able to do this full time, right? And I was very lucky at that time. Nu Skin North America announced a succession, like you guys are announcing Hokkaido. So that succession was actually in Bermuda. So has anyone ever been to Bermuda? No, you never even heard of it, right? That was my first thought. I was like, is that the Bermuda Triangle, or where is that? Yeah. So, but when we got back to the hotel, because this was at the convention, we got back to the Provo, the Salt Lake City, hotel, and then all of us just gathered around in one bed, and then started planning. because there was 8 of us at that convention, and all of us were really, we saw this trip, we saw the promotional video, it had pig sand, it was like the bluest sky you can imagine, and we're just like, we need this vacation, we need to make this trip. So all of us were gathered around and planned that trip. So you can see, this is actually a photo from a later success trip, but every success trip, when it was being announced, we'll be gathered around and just planning like that. And we couldn't sleep, we just wanted to know how we can build our business and make sure that everyone went on this trip. And so at that time, that announcement was in October, and the trip was next year, right? So we had 6 months only to qualify, and we wanted everyone there. So what we did is, when we got back to Vancouver from that convention, Amy gathered the 8 of us, and we would go on weekly meetings on Saturdays at 8 a.m. Does anyone want to go for a meeting at 8 a.m. on Saturdays? No, right? But that's what we did. We got together. So these meetings were kind of they motivated us, highly motivated us, but at the same time it was a very stressful meeting because every week we would be back there and then sharing about what each of us has accomplished or what we didn't accomplish. But these meetings really motivated us that we left no one behind. And this was also a very stressful time for me personally because I was in my last year of my double major. And so I remember a lot of spa parties will be in the evenings in my house, in the living room, and everyone will be just doing spa and talking about business, and I would be just in one corner, writing my lab reports. Yeah. And so even today, when I have nightmares, it would just be about me writing lab reports. So as you can imagine, that was a very stressful time. But in the end, after just grinding through it the 6 months until the very last minute, all 8 of us were able to qualify for that trip. So you can see this is a picture, and you really remember your very first success trip really well. I think for us, we've been on vacations growing up, we can pay for our own vacations. But it really felt different when you qualify for something together, when you're able to go together, and when you feel recognized together, right? And this whole nice thing about recognition, it really does feel different, right? When it's not just you, it's your team members together on one trip. And we felt really respected, I felt on that trip by Nu Skin. And if anyone's been on a trip with Nu Skin, you know that they really take care of you, right? And I always remember on the very last day, we were on a party. We had a party by the beach. So sort of like this one, and then at the very last minute, a firework went up, and it was really close. If I'm sitting here, that firework is just at the backstage, where that is, a very close distance. And remember when that first firework came up, all 8 of us just gathered together and we cried. We cried, we thought, we can finally, we worked so hard to get here, we had fun, we can all finally take a breather, rest for a bit. But no. When we didn't even get back to Vancouver yet, Amy told us, all of us to gather together again, and told us, now it's your next goal, because you had your momentum going, and you had to keep going. So your next goal was to hit Blue Diamond. Yes. So, right after that trip, we got back to Vancouver and started our weekly meetings again. And so the second, second event that helped with our momentum other than success trip was the LTO, limited time offer of TR90. We all know how great TR90 is, right? Yes. So that was just, when it was first being announced, when it was being launched. And so we spent a lot of time leading up to the LTO to talk to customers about the product, about the program, and how it can help them build the business. And once again, we pushed until the very last minute, until all of us were able to qualify. So I really think USD has planned everything out very well, the roadmap to success very well. It has that succession, it has that LTO in the succession, really to help us build our business. So as long as we follow that momentum, the roadmap that USD gives us, I think it'll lead us to the title that we want to get to, where we want to get to. And so in this picture, this is me and my two team members, and we were being recognized on stage at the same time. Yes. I'm just going to spend maybe a minute talking about them, because really we've been together since the beginning. We work together like a very close-knit team. And this is just to show you, really USD is for anyone at any stage of their life. For me, I started as a student, right? But for Ben, this is on my right, I believe. So, to my left, sorry. Yeah, and he was a few years older than me, and then also already working in the banking industry when we started USD. And at first, he was just coming to our spa parties to help deal with his acne problems. Because his job was so stressful, he would just come to the spa parties, sit in one corner, and not speak at all the whole time. I just wanted to do the facials. But after maybe 5 or 6 of these spa parties, he overheard my mom speaking the compensation plan to someone. And suddenly, I think his eyes lit up. He understood the numbers, he understood the compensation plan, and was interested. And the next spa party, he was eager to start USD. And even for us, we were surprised. Yeah. And Nikki, also my team member, and she was actually awarded the youngest young entrepreneur of the year back in 2020 and in North America. So she also started as a student. But with USD, right after graduation, we went on a succession where her fiance proposed to her, and so she got married quickly after graduation and had 2 beautiful daughters. But USD was able to follow her throughout the business. So at any stage of your life, USD could be a business for you. So really with USD, I think I really love the slogan, discover the best you. And you are really discovering the best you every day with USD. And these are some of my pictures of my journey, at different conventions, being recognized as team lead. And eventually, last year I was recognized as COE1. And really, Another proud moment for me is for me and my mom to be recognized together on stage. So this is when my mom was recognized CLE3 and I was as team lead. So after 18 years, we were standing on the same stage together. And this is last year. So I think, seeing the pictures of the team and us on stage, I think USD is really a great platform. And it's really great fit for so many people because you can join at any age. You can join from your late teens. And as you can see from the team members here, they're I think I was really lucky in USD that I'm able to have such great mentors. Because, it's really hard to find great mentors that are willing to mentor you and give it their all, right? And also, it's really hard to find team members that, already have experiences, a lot of life experiences. I have team members that, that are older than me, and they've already had successful businesses or successful careers before joining USD. And I feel like I learned from them a lot. I really, for this being my very first job, I feel like I was very lucky that I was in USD. Yes. So personally for me, just to wrap up, I don't want to make this too long. So I think with USD, what I relied on the most was my belief. And when I talk about belief, it's not just about believing in yourself. I think it's belief in 3 aspects. First of all, I believe in the company. I watched the company as I grew up, right? And throughout my years of doing skin. And every time I come to a convention or a summit like this one, we hear the scientists speak, right? We hear the corporate speak, and we see their vision. We see where our company is headed, where the science is headed. So I'm always confident that Nu Skin will have innovative products that continue to lead the industry. And second, I believed in my mentors, and I believe in their vision, because I know they have so much more experience than me, and I see how they are to succeed. So I really believe in their vision and their insight into this business. And also, I believe my team members are pillars of support for me. And finally, it's believe in yourself. I believe that at any age, well, especially when I started at 19, I had the ability and the capacity to learn. It's okay if I don't, make like this much of money, or I have this pin title by this age. But I know that eventually I'll get there. It might take me longer than others, but I had the ability and the capacity to learn. So I really hope for everyone, anyone new here today, to really get to know more about our company, talk to the people that invited you, and if you trust their vision, and if you are interested about what is being presented today, I really hope we can go on the Nu Skin 3.0 journey together. Thank you. Thank you.